Hello, Lakers! My name is Miss Sherwin, and welcome to English 9 Quarter 4 Learning Remotely. I know that this is a very interesting time, and I bet you have a lot of questions, so hopefully I'll be able to answer all of them or most of them through this small introductory video. For starters, I have some tips for remote learning. This is new for all of us, so just some guidelines for you all to live by for this course in order to succeed. I would like you to check in with our class on Schoology daily. That doesn't mean that you'll be completing assignments daily. It just means that you can be checking in, making sure that you have everything in tip-top shape, that you can see if we have classroom discussions going on or if I sent you a Schoology message. That way you know what's going on. There will be weekly instructional videos from myself that I would like you to view just because we do cover, I would say, a lot of content, even though we are remotely learning, and those instructional videos will help you. I will also ask you to utilize the Q&A discussion board on our homepage whenever you're lost. So you'll be able to find that at the very bottom of our page. I believe it's at the bottom of our page. And you can just go in there and ask questions if you're confused about the content, if you have questions about what's going on. Just know that other students in our class will also be able to see those. And that way you can help answer other questions as well. And I'll be checking in there and answering questions along the way. Otherwise, if you have a personal question that you would rather not post to the Q&A discussion board, you can reach out to me via Schoology whenever you have a question. And I'll have some more contact information at the end of this presentation. So, over the next few weeks, this is kind of our quarter at a glance. So, this is just in case we learned remotely for the rest of the quarter, even though Governor Walz had the executive order of Stay Home Minnesota, which means that schools will be basically learning remotely until at least May 5th. So we might be back to school around in May. If not, this is what we have in place. So the first week, we're going to be doing an introduction to Shakespeare. After that, weeks 2 through 7, we will be reading Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. It's exciting. I know that you'll probably be very confused, but we'll learn it all together. And then finally, the last 2 weeks of the quarter, we are going to be doing a compare and contrast paper. Roughly every week, there are roughly 2 assignments. Typically, you'll have a assignment that you'll turn in and then a formative quiz that you will complete. That will be primarily between that weeks 2 through 7 period when we read Romeo and Juliet. Week 1 and weeks 8 and 9 look a little bit different, but we'll figure that out along the way. So if you're viewing this video, you've already found our Schoology page. You might have even looked around it a little bit. You will notice that there's a resource folder at the top. In that resource folder, there are 2 things that I would want you to put into Notability right after you view this video. For starters, there's a Romeo and Juliet PDF, which means that everything that we read from Romeo and Juliet is on that PDF. It's going to help you if you just put that into Notability right away. That way you can jot down notes and questions along the way if you have them. There's also a study guide PDF that we will be utilizing and turning in every single week after our first week, just to stay on track with what's going on in Romeo and Juliet and making sure that you understand the content. And then finally, there's also audio for Romeo and Juliet, which I highly recommend that you listen to, just because Shakespeare is one of those things that it's better understood if we see it or if we hear it. If we just read it ourselves and it's the first time that we've read Shakespeare, it can be very challenging. And I will also add in other resources to help you kind of navigate this challenging curriculum as we go into our resource folder. Other than that, though, there's also weekly folders that I will be publishing more and more as the weeks go on. So to not overwhelm you right now, there's really just our week 1 folder. You'll notice that we've got a few assignments in that folder. After that other week, we'll have lesson videos and assignments and quizzes in every single weekly folder. So with week 1, if you are going to venture into that folder eventually, you'll notice that week 1 is all about the introduction to Shakespeare. As you can see here, I have every assignment labeled with numbers. So 1.1 means it's week 1 assignment 1, and that's our questionnaire, and it is going to be due Wednesday night at 11:59. I will tell you right now that the deadlines and due dates, it'll always be due at that 11:59 p.m. period. The days will change, of course, but I'm never going to request to have you turn in something, by noon or something like that. It'll be at the very end of the day. And so there is a questionnaire that I will have you complete. It's just a basic kind of get to know you. Of course, meeting you all while learning remotely is quite challenging, and so I still want to get to know you all. I want to get to know your home situation as we are kind of in this quarantine focus right now. And so that will be pretty quick. It shouldn't take you too long to complete. After that, you'll notice that our next assignment 1.2, so that's week 1, assignment 2, is Shakespeare background research. This one is also due Wednesday, and this one is actually a discussion that you will post for the class. You'll see that there are a few different options for you in this discussion post. I basically just ask you to research something along the lines of Shakespeare and our background information that we gather from him. And so I do give you options, and then you'll write up a discussion post, and maybe you'll read a few others. And then finally, for our 1.3 assignment, that's week 1, assignment 3, you are going to try your best of translating the prologue of Romeo and Juliet. I say try your best because this is our first go at Shakespeare, and it's totally okay if you have questions or concerns or have no idea what you're doing. The prologue is very short, and I have it in a Google document where you can either copy it over into Google or Notability, and you are going to translate the best way that you can, meaning that the Shakespearean language that you read, you are going to try to put it into modern day language, line for line. And if I of course have more information on that assignment if you go into our week 1 folder and look at assignment 1.3, and that will be due on Friday. Now we've reached the end of our presentation. If you need to get in contact with me, the best way to reach me is through my email, the esherwin@priorlakesavage.k12.mn.us. I think the long one is actually a little bit, it probably finds me a little bit faster than the normal @PLSAS, so that's what I prefer. Otherwise, if you need to send me a Schoology message, feel free to do so. Also, new for our class, there is an Instagram that you can follow at Miss Sherwin. It's just for classroom updates and information and fun stuff that's going on as we learn more about Shakespeare. So I hope to hear from you all. I can't wait to read your questionnaires and your first few assignments, and I hope that you are all doing well and stay healthy.